Are you trying to speed run dementia?
Oh, well, it seems like my body was already doing that anyway.
A major university study suggests how to slow aging and defuse that biological time bomb. Participants slowed their aging by drinking
Oh,
Field of Greens. That's all. They didn't change their eating, drinking, or exercise, just Field of Greens. Each fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens was doctor selected for specific health benefits: cell health, heart, lungs, kidneys, metabolism, even healthy weight. I feel great knowing Field of Greens can slow how quickly I'm aging, especially because you guys have made comments about the white in my beard. I can't do anything about it. And I encourage you to join me. Swap your untested fruit, vegetable, or green drink for Field of Greens while there's time.
Oh boy.
Check out the university study and get 20% off when you use promo code TIM at fieldofgreens.com. That's fieldofgreens.com, promo code TIM. Don't forget to also smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and everything else, we got Andrew Colvin.
Honored to be here.
Who are you? What do you do?
I'm the Turning Point USA spokesman. I'm the executive producer
Did you
of the
see
Charlie
that
Kirk Show,
dude
and I'm a
in
proud American.
Right on.
Parliament
Thanks for
saying,
hanging out.
yeah,
We are joined by
like
Luke. He has returned.
there's like a fucking emergency. Like if the fucking economy keeps going this way, it's gonna be over.
Yeah, the past week, I can't remember what it was, but the economy is so much worse than anyone is being like led on to believe, and like no one's talking about how bad it is. It's like going under the radar and how bad it is. It's one of those ones where you slowly kind of are like, what the fuck is this? But you don't really think of it like, oh, the economy's getting worse, and then it hits you. That's kind of what it seems like what's happening right now. Yeah, what specifically are you talking about?
Well, like I just see clips of it on YouTube. It looks like it's in like side like one of those like parliamentary buildings. It's like one of the I don't know what he's called, like a financial advisor or whatever. He's kind of like
Minister, maybe?
giving like testimony. Um, yeah, I guess.
Financial minister, that might be what it is.
Yeah. I think he's basically saying he's very, very concerned that if things don't change, but it just, like I think he just says it'll be over. So whatever the fuck that means.
Hey man, I kind of like that guy. Remember any keywords of the video so I could look it up?
Just type in like, I don't know, Canada, yeah, like finance minister warning. I mainly just watch people reacting to that or like making commentary because I don't really follow it. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard something too about them going over budget for something, which is another thing that causes inflation. So that's nice.
I think they need to change like some fundamental things in this, like the way governments are elected. Because I just for them to have power for like 10 years, this is what happens.
Well, yeah, not even like having power for 10 years without context isn't bad in itself, but having power for 10 years when you have an axe murderer stabbing you many times in the chest for years, and then you keep getting voted in after you're still getting stabbed, I feel like that's retarded. It's like, hey, the person's killing me, I'm going to vote them in. Just Doesn't make sense. It's because people are dumb.
Very strange.
Like, think of it this way, right? We have state-run media, and a lot of people watch that. So it's like, why would they get news that is being truthful about the economy?
Something about like some guy who used to work there coming out saying like they like basically like censored the shit out of him. That was pretty recent news too. So. What a world, man.
Like, it's interesting. In the U.S., people are retarded there too, but they let in, 20 million illegals, insane inflation, multiple wars broke out that they sent aid to, and a bunch of weird, degenerate shit going on, and people actually change their mind, even if they don't vote that way in the future. Here, I don't think that's how it works here.
I just, I don't know, or whatever it's called, if they call another election like early, I'm scared they're just gonna fucking vote for the same, man.
So I don't remember how it works from the last proper election, like what was it, like 5 or 6 years ago. I kind of knew how it worked, but I don't remember how it works with calling a flash election, or like a pop-up election. Usually that means that they don't have enough confidence in their own government to wait for like the proper time to have a to have an election, because it doesn't give the opponents enough time to campaign. And obviously, if you're already in office, that's already a campaign benefit. Because that's what Trudeau did. He called, I think he called 1 or 2 pop-up elections, because even back then, he knew his government was absolute trash. And I don't know who is able to decide whether there's a quicker election. But yeah, I know I'm retarded, but who would have thought electing an idiot's financial advisor would make things worse, or at best not change in a positive way? The same guy that it's kind of like,
It's bad.
it's like having a girlfriend, and then one of her friends tells her to cheat on you, and then you go with that girl that told her to do that. It's like, you're probably not gonna have a good time with that chick.
Yep, LukeRadowski, youtube.com/wearechange. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a little bit of a whirlwind. Push for World War III, big push for national ID, civil strife. So a good time to come back to discuss all the madness and the psyops and the insanity unfolding in our society. That's only going to get a lot worse from here. So.
Well, okay, we're good now.
Yeah.
I'm already depressed. Let's
Yeah.
Positive
Tate.
news for you guys.
Tate's hanging out.
What's up, guys? Tate Brown here, holding it down. It's so sick to be as a venue change. This is like a Patriot hive. Like, I love it. Everyone in here is just a Patriot. It's just so good to be here. So
Tate's
yeah.
so excited to be at TPUSA.
I
I'm
am
excited for you guys to
We
be
all
here.
are. We
This
all
is
are.
I
Disney
hit you
World
up.
for
I
Patriots.
hit you up on text. I was like, usually we do that when it's getting close to Amfest, and I was like, you should just come.
And I was like,
Then you're like, I'm gonna come for the whole like.
that's what I was saying. I mean, it's really difficult to travel last minute plus security issues, but I think we feel pretty confident. And
We got this place locked in. We got
yeah.
a lot of tough hombres. Keeping
Yeah, I won't reveal anything, but oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We've been here before. You guys treat us pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're here. We'll be here all week. It's going to be fun, and I think we have a lot of interesting conversations. But let's jump into that first story.
Yep.
We got this from CBS News. Pritzker says Trump administration seeking to deploy 100 troops to protect ICE in Illinois. So it's not just the ICE agents with these ongoing riots, but now National Guard will be protecting them. Governor Pritzker on Monday said his administration has learned the Trump administration is seeking to deploy 100 troops in Illinois following the deployment of armed federal agents in downtown Chicago over the weekend and multiple clashes between protesters and ICE agents in the West suburban Broadview in
Yeah,
recent
dude,
weeks.
no matter how
Pritzker said
fucking
the Illinois
degenerate
National
the
Guard
city
has
can be,
learned
I want
the
someone
Department
to
of
make a
Homeland
fucking
Security sent
map
a
in the
memo
car
to the
game.
Pentagon
That's
requesting
all.
deployment of 100 military troops in Illinois to protect ICE personnel and facilities.
That'd be
The
pretty
governor's
cool.
office said it's unclear if those troops would be Illinois National Guard,
Like the
National
only
Guard
thing I
members
can
from other states, or
actually
active duty
compare it to
military
is
troops.
Microsoft Flight Sim, but
What I have
that's in the
warned of
air,
is
so
now being
I
realized.
can't
One thing is clear.
recognize it, so-
None of what Trump is doing is making Illinois safer. This is an attack on neighborhoods, on lawful residents, on U.S. citizens. That's not preventing crime, as Donald Trump claims. That's threatening.
Independence is so important to me. Being a woman living with a progressive disease, you're dealing with a lot of no's. With that yes to credit from Capital One, I was able to rebuild my life the way that I wanted. I never let anything stop me. I'm proud that I can financially support myself, pursue all my passions. Getting that yes allowed me to be optimistic for my future.
I have to say, I'm rather jealous. Can't believe it was her. Everybody, destroy it all!
I see a video, and I'll tell you, it's a rock and a hard place that I'm not going to be happy about, but I see a video of ICE agent, CBP, or National Guard walking around Chicago, and my attitude is, oh, thank God. I see these guys. You know what your worst case scenario is? I know, Luke, you're going to have a heart attack over this. You're going to be walking down the street, and there's going to be a National Guard guy, and he's going to go, excuse me, sir, you got a second? Can I see some ID real quick?
No.
And
I played fifth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this, that maybe 20 years ago I'd have been like, I don't got to give you my ID. What is it all about? Maybe not even. Because now, you know what my response is? I'll be like, is something going on? Yeah, sure. Here's my ID. I appreciate that you guys are here. It's been great. Where I grew up in my neighborhood, if I had National Guard at the park and they said, you have an ID? I'd be like, no, I'm 16. And they'd be like, what are you doing? I'm with my friends. That's probably the end of it. The alternative is roving bands of gangbangers and people getting mugged, robbed, getting shot for no reason. There are some areas in Chicago where gangs, you have to join the gang if you live in their turf. So you're 13, they say join the gang. And how do you join the gang? You kill somebody. This stuff has to stop.
Is it called
and
the
when Pritzker says
bi-general
there's
election?
no
Where
problem,
it's,
we
like,
don't need
called
this.
early? Is that what it's
100
called?
years, and they've never solved
The
these problems.
by-election
I will
or
take
whatever?
anything.
So Al Sharpton is actually
That I
calling
don't
this
know.
action by
Possibly.
because he says Trump is targeting blacks when he's doing this. So I think what happened in Washington D.C. is kind of an example of where this is going. I mean, this is kind of a slow creek. I'm not a big fan of the military being on streets, but really we have to look at what happened in Washington D.C. There wasn't any kind of major violations of people's civil liberties. It was just people kind of walking around here. People still have their constitutional rights, and for me, the perfect solution. I mean, obviously, you picked up this dichotomy of like, okay, do you want the gangbanger there? Or do you want the National Guardsman there? Who do you want on the street corner? Who do you feel safer by? Obviously, the average sane, rational person is going to want to have the military there. But I think the perfect
Is it a
response is to
snap
allow people to
election?
defend themselves. I think there's a way to do this without using our tax dollars, using our military, and that's just allowing
that sounds
concealed
right.
carry federally. I know Trump has talked about that, and I would love to have
'Cause
people
the
to
first
be able
word
to
that comes to
stand
mind
up
is
to
flash
criminals
election.
and give them a fair
That-
chance to actually defend themselves, which they don't in Chicago.
But you know what happens in Chicago? You get arrested.
Exactly.
That's the
Exactly. That's. I think if we're going to unwind this problem, that would be a kind of more federal way to do it, especially if you allow federal concealed carry, which I think is the most important issue right now. And then we won't have to waste National Guard troops. We won't have to spend tax dollars, and people are able to understand, hey, if you commit a crime, there's going to be people who are going to stand up to you and fight back. That right there is the biggest difference that is going to change things and respect people's civil liberties at the same time.
I know Andrew was shocked by this stuff.
No,
I totally loved it. Let me hear. You know, I couldn't even remember her name. I had to look it up. Remember when the rep LaMonica McIver? She's like body checked. She was like a linebacker going in there. She punched.
She punched.
Well,
she
assaulted.
punching.
That much is true, right? She assaulted, federal law enforcement. That's what this is. And so, all of this goes back to the fact that blue jurisdictions are unwilling or unable to protect federal law enforcement that are in these cities. And so, if they would just simply cooperate, if they would shut down these protests on their own, then Trump and the federal government would not have to send in additional troops.
I'm gonna push on that language a little bit. They're not protests, and I know that we have this-
riots, they're assaults,
right.
they're domestic violent terrorism. I'm good using all those words. I'm good using all of them.
I don't mean that to come down on you, but I think people on the right, or whatever to describe the faction, the pro-American faction,
Yeah, this is team sanity.
has this tendency to often use the language that the corporate press will use.
That's a fine pushback. I mean, because I listen, I just lived through my friend, experiencing extreme violence, and obviously this ratcheting up of this violent rhetoric, this violent, you could see how radicalized young liberals have become in this country. 30% of them or more believe that violence is somehow justifiable to advance a political agenda. We have to figure out this problem on that side, but we have to be honest about the fact that it's coming from people like LaMonica McIver, and it's coming from Democrat leaders. They are looking the other way. They're essentially tacitly endorsing these strategies. And yeah, I love what Trump did with Antifa. I love that we're starting to take this stuff seriously and be like, these are domestic extremists, these are domestic terrorists, right? And they're actually doing violence, and we have to clamp down.
Isn't it wild that for the longest time we have tolerated these people showing up to various law enforcement agencies, and they physically attack people? And I'm sitting there thinking, like, these liberals are going out screaming, "But my free speech," and I'm like, whoa, hold on. Free speech was never about you surrounding an ICE vehicle and banging on the screen. Free speech was you stood across the street from the gate, holding up signs, and using that to generate attention. There's a degree of civil disobedience we tolerate, like linking arms.
The tolerance is expected of conservatives at every level, and that's why this is so important with the National Guard. I mean, these cities, it's beyond inaction. When you're basically telling your citizens, "I hate you," when you refuse to enforce crime for as long as it's been going on. So conservatives have been expected to tolerate violence at every level, just from the street corner all the way to political assassinations for decades now. So it's like, now that the Trump administration is actually just stepping in and lobbying on behalf of well-meaning citizens, they perceive that as this huge authoritarian.
Yeah, but it feels to me like more deliberate and sinister than that. They are intentionally not protecting ICE officers. Right. This goes back to kind of when the raids were happening in LA. It was the national news, right? Karen Bass is saying, you don't need to do this. Gavin Newsom making it this opportunity to take advantage politically. So, but the point is, all that they would need to do to stop that, it's very clear. You get a criminal that happens to be an illegal alien, and there's an ICE detainer on him. But when you can't do that, guess what ICE has to do? They have to go out to the community and round these people up. So that is an intentional act of provocation by the local government, by Democrat cities and governors, to say, we're not going to play ball the safe way. How much more safe is it to hand somebody over that's already in custody? No, they're going to make you go out into the community and get these people, and guess what happens when that? People get hurt, people get killed. And so it's an intentional provocation. The blood is on their hands, and so yeah, we need to ratchet it up. And Trump's absolutely right for sending in these troops.
Here's the challenge we face: the right has too long misunderstood the intentions of the left.
Yes.
A great example is this story from the New York Post earlier. Zoran Mamdani pledges $100 million in free legal defense, and by free I mean they take it from you, taxpayer. Free legal defenses for illegal immigrants in New York when he wins. That That means you as an American citizen will do like the city will take a portion of that and fund people who are not citizens of this country.
No, they aren't even legally here.
Exactly, not even legally here. And he said, and he says in his campaign, that he's going to defend his community. People need to understand when they say our democracy, and then they go on to explain, talking about non-citizens, people who don't live in this country. They are telling us, you are not who we are talking about, you are not our community. But the problem is, for the longest time, the right has believed that the left was talking about a country with all of us together, when they've been talking about isolating us and breaking us down and destroying what we want and what we believe in this country. So the challenge we face now, as you mentioned, why won't they turn these illegal immigrants over? That would be like, imagine if the UK filed an extradition, a warrant on Luke for Luke's speech. Well, we're not going to turn over a U.S. citizen to the UK. That's how the Democrats feel about their illegal immigrants. It's like turning over a citizen of their country to a foreign nation. That's how they're treated.
Yeah, I agree with that. But and by the way, you're totally right, isolating the fact that we have assumed that they are operating in good faith when they're not. And secondly, I would say though that they are, even when I say it's more sinister than that, it's because they're looking at it as a political advantageous move to provoke the action, and then when Trump takes the action, then they say, oh, it's the end of democracy. No, it's like, no, you are literally defying federal law. You are refusing to cooperate. And by the way, the fact that there's any legal protection for a sanctuary city to begin with, that boggles the mind. And it's a there are legal protections. There is case law and all this stuff, which is a problem. We need to dismantle it because it fundamentally erodes the strength of the federal government and the ability for us to govern the entirety of this country. You essentially have these little outposts of rogue states that, you know, we just call them caravans. You know,
I'll give it to them. It is destroying democracy. We're a constitutional republic. They are a multicultural democracy. That's how Stephen Marsh described it. And as much as he said he favors the multicultural democracy, I think he's correct. They have created a multicultural democracy that is trying to supplant our constitutional republic. So when they look at what Trump is doing, what we are doing, what Americans believe and want for the country, electing Trump with a popular vote, and they say, oh no, our democracy is threatened. Yeah, they're speaking the language of the left. They're saying our invasive system is under threat.
Well, a lot of the corruption comes top down, not just from the George Soros district attorneys, but also police officers. I mean, from my experiences being at the Battle of Berkeley, being in Portland, Tim, you were there too for a lot of those kind of on-the-ground protest movements. There was incidences where the left created an illegal action, violated someone's personal property or injured someone, and the cops just kind of stood there like, okay, we're not going to do anything. So when we look at that type of lawlessness, again, I have to go back to constitutional carry. I have to go back to individuals understanding that the solution is going to be on an individual level, because I feel like we're just trying to outbeat each other with big government. I don't want big government, but at the same time, the problem that you guys are addressing is very severe, is very real. And we're not talking about thousands of troops. We're not talking about martial law. We're talking about, what was it, 100, 200 troops that are also...
Before Hootsuite, my team had a separate tool and browser tab for every single social task. We had an app for scheduling, one for social listening, one for drafting posts, another for reporting. You could
until 2025. Guess how many of those murders were white? Any idea? No, like the people that were murdered, 1,200. How many of them were white? 11. Wow. 11. That means that...
I know it's going to be a big number or a small number.
Yeah, 11. So Trump comes in, takes over law enforcement. You know, there was a lot of the tweets you were seeing for a while were like, no murders for this much, which, by the way, in the height of the summer was truly remarkable, right? Because that's killing season. The summer is killing season. There wasn't any murders. And then we finally had one, right? But what you know, the left says is that they're for the people of color, they're for the disenfranchised, the marginalized, all this stuff. Well, Trump's the one out here saving black lives. You look at the Ferguson effect, you look at George Floyd effect. This is the lack of law enforcement in the communities that need it most results in all of these dead black and brown kids.
You know what's going to happen, though? Let's do a countdown to when the news, with the number of black people dying going way down under Trump's rule, what they're going to say now is, number of white people killed in D.C. explodes by 2,498%.
No, you're probably right.
Because it's like from
Proportional,
one to,
yeah.
exactly.
But they don't understand statistics or per capita. Right?
They can frame it that way. Let's jump to the story. We have this from NBC News. Oregon sues Trump administration over deployment of National Guard troops to Portland. The suit comes a day after Trump announced he was authorizing the Guard to use full force. It's a vague term, because does he mean lethal force? I don't know. The suit names President Trump, Pete Hegseth, Homeland Security's Kristi Noem, as defendants. It asks a federal court in Portland to stop the Trump administration from deploying troops and declare the deployment unlawful. Now, this is something called the protective principle. It's been asserted by the executive branch for decades. The executive branch has long maintained troops can be deployed not for domestic law enforcement, but to protect federal buildings and assist federal law enforcement in certain capacities like logistics or otherwise. And that is viewed as largely legal. Now, the issue, I suppose, we're looking at is what does full force mean? And the bigger question for our, anarcho Luke over here is, when I look at this, I look at extenuating circumstances, and it's the rock and the hard place. Abraham Lincoln famously suspended habeas corpus, one of the greatest examples of it. He did this in violation of the Constitution without legislative authority, and then retroactively sought approval from Congress, which was granted, creating this precedent where the president can theoretically suspend habeas corpus in an emergency and then wait for approval later. It's kind of a crazy thing to think that we would do, but Abraham Lincoln did it. What we're dealing with right now, I would say, I don't want national guard in the streets. So what's the alternative? Right. You've got these roving bands of far-left extremists who've been firebombing buildings for the past several years. The worst riots we've seen in 50 years. We've got now the assassination of Charlie Kirk, as well as, since we've had 4 terror attacks in 4 weeks. Now, I do understand that the church attack, it was some internal Mormon issue. The left is going to run wild with it, but by all means, the guy appears to have been a Trump supporter. The point is, we are dealing with a terror attack every week. This year, I think we're up to 30, and what I mean by terror attack is politically motivated, ideologically motivated attacks. Now, I think they're almost entirely liberal, and that's where we get really crazy, is that I'm not talking about far left. The ideology espoused by these terrorists is mainstream Democrat ideology. What AOC said on the floor of the House was no different than the ideology of the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk. Now, when we see this guy, he drives into a church and he attacks it. Everyone on the right is shocked, angered, and saying this can't happen. We can't allow this. And his views do not represent, his motivation doesn't represent anyone on the right. Luke, how do you feel about Trump deploying troops, considering all of this stuff that's happening?
Well, we have to look at a case-by-case basis. So Washington, D.C., I think overall was a successful case, right? Even though I would have handled it completely differently with more of a respect for the tax dollars, but that's just me. I'm just a nitpicker. But with Portland, we have to understand the police are complicit there. A lot of the times they allow leftist violence. They don't do anything about it. When you have people taking sniper shots at ICE facilities, you're going to need National Guards to respond with full force. I know the left is responding very hyperbolically, saying now they're going to do whatever they want. No, I mean, if I'm one of these National Guardsmen, right, and I'm there at the ICE facility, I want to make sure that if someone is throwing a Molotov cocktail at me, or if someone is shooting a gun at me, that I can defend myself. So I think this is what they're meaning here, and it's reasonable to have that. It makes sense. Like, I can't argue against that.
It seems like escalation is the only thing that's going to happen. Because the ICE attacker, apparently, according to the evidence that Cash put out, he wrote a letter saying he wanted to terrorize ICE and have them fear there could be a sniper on any rooftop. So now you've got these protests in Chicago, you've got these protests in Portland. These ICE guys are going to fear that they could walk outside and there could be a sniper taking shots at them. I fear that this will escalate to a point where some ICE guys will be doing a prisoner detainee transport. They'll see some far leftist. They'll have something in their hand that looks like a gun. ICE will shoot them.
With that yes to credit from Capital One, I was able to rebuild my life the way that I want. I'm proud that I can financially support myself. Getting that yes allowed me to be optimistic.
Holy fuck, man! How long are these goddamn
knock
ads,
Charlie
bro?
on this. One of the things he was warning about right up until the end was what he called the Lost Boys of the West. And basically, when you create an economy, and this kind of goes back to some of the stuff where you started out with, Tim, like the Occupy stuff, right? Where you have this easy money, the inflation of assets, while the little guy gets crushed. Charlie was warning about this. He was like, listen, they can't afford homes, they can't afford rent, they can't afford to get married, they can't afford to have kids, an increasingly large number of them. And what they do is they get sucked down these rabbit holes online, they get radicalized, they get told that conservatives are not human. You can lie about them. You can lie about them even if you're Jimmy Kimmel on ABC. You can lie about how they died. And so you dehumanize them. They're hearing this all the time, that they're Nazis, that they're fascists. You can, it's a moral good to take them out. And meanwhile, they're sitting there going like, well, I can't afford anything. I can't afford to live. We've flooded our market with cheap money. The incumbent class, the boomers and such, have so much extraordinary wealth. And screw it. I'm gonna burn it all down. And Charlie's whole goal was, we have to get this generation, Gen Z, to buy into the system, or we're all screwed. And that's why, when Erica's saying, that young man, Charlie was trying to reach those people. He was trying to say, you can have a piece of this, and I'm working on your behalf. We want a moonshot with new homes. We're gonna build 10 million new homes. We're gonna make it affordable. BlackRock's not gonna be able to buy them. Interest rates are going to come down. We got all this investment coming back in the country. There's going to be jobs. There's going to be opportunity. This is the promise. But he was like, hey, we're up against the clock.
It's what Yuri Bezmenov warned about when it came to demoralization. When you look at extremist type of handbooks and you look into what causes extremism, it's usually people who don't have relations, don't have sex, don't have family, don't have relationships, that don't have any kind of economic opportunities. That's pretty much the modern youth. So if you want to unwind that, I would argue that the establishment has been pushing for this, for all the young males to feel like this, to be in this particular position, and that position is an extremely righteous and dangerous one that we are all in right now.
Well, yeah, and you either get Mamdaniism and Magionism, or you get MAGA.
Yeah.
There's two routes. Once you back yourself into this debt crisis, once you back yourself into these inflated asset crises that we've gotten after COVID, especially, but ever since the 2007, 2008 financial crisis.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why the left is so petrified of MAGA. So why they're so petrified of what Charlie Kirk was doing was because they were occupying the mainstream and reinventing it. They were pushing the mainstream into the correct direction, and that's why that was so terrifying. They were just so effective because it was providing a siphon for frustrated young men, but it was channeling it into something effective rather than these weird, radical.
Well, yeah, it's the burn it all down people and the societal anarchists versus the national revitalization people. We believe that we can revitalize America because we believe America is exceptional. We believe that it's providential. We believe that it is special, and so it's worth fighting for. It's worth saving. And it's worth making sure that the next generation has a seat at the table and skin in the game. And if we don't do that, then you're going to get more and more radicalization. If you have a marriage, if you have kids, if you're worried about your local playground and your local school, guess what? You're not going to burn it down because you don't want your kids to grow up in that world. That's why Charlie was so adamant. Get married, have kids. Get the MRS degree. I don't care. His message was very clear. And when you see people that are getting estranged from the system, they're going to get radicalized. And they're going to be attracted to the Mamdanis of the world who are the burn-it-all-down people that fundamentally loathe the American system.
Well, I mean, Mamdani is not a bug of the system, a feature of the system. This is the system that the ruling regime over the last few decades has created.
Is that a central casting?
They've created atomized young people. And of course, for young people, I'm a Zoomer, I'm 24. Among people my age, if you're a centrist, you're cringe and an idiot. Because it's why? Why would you defend the system as it has existed? Again, I'll go back to that's why MAGA is such an interesting. It's the first time that we've had a movement that's in the mainstream that actually is effective.
If Trump wants to deal with this radicalization problem, he really has to fix the economy, and he should start at the U.S. Federal Reserve banking system. He should get rid of that whole system, and he should get rid of it.
Let me pull this up. We'll jump to the story. This is a poll from YouGov and The Economist, and it's a little hard to see, but basically what we have is reckless youth. Quote, is it ever justified for citizens to resort to violence in order to achieve their political goals? From ages 18 to 39, around 30% of liberals say yes. And And among 40 to 59, it's around 15%, and just slightly less than 10. Conservatives have gone down. Conservatives have actually de-radicalized. Moderates have radicalized. So moderates and liberals. So it's important to understand how this graph is. 60 plus on the right, 40 to 59 in the middle, and 18 to 39. The younger generation of liberals are extremely violent. And what this means, that people need to understand. Here's what's really crazy about the 18 to 39 cohort. 5 years ago, we're talking about 13 to 34, meaning they weren't even polling these people. Younger generations are becoming extremely radicalized. And as the boomers, I was talking to this, I was probably
By the
7
way,
years
can I
ago.
just say one thing? Look at the date on that.
This
Charlie
is,
got assassinated on the September 10th. This poll was taken
September
12th through the 15th.
Yep.
That should send chills down your spine.
and this is why we saw so many people on social media celebrate. I talked to this old boomer guy, he's probably 70 years, and I said, the problem is we need more of you guys. I was like, the boomers, if you even look here, you can see liberal, conservative, and moderate boomers are less than 10% is the age preference. The younger liberals are more like the same. Younger conservatives are saying, younger moderates are moving a little bit. When these 18 to 39-year-olds are the 60 plus, when they're older, this whole graph, imagine where young liberals are going to be. They're going to be saying they want violence. It's not going to be a third of the younger generation. It will be 2/3.
I pray you're wrong. I pray you're wrong. Because the escape hatch here as a nation is like what you were saying.
Yep.
We are in a race against the economic clock. We have to prove, and by God's grace, I hope we get 8 more years after Trump's term. We have to accomplish enough where there is enough of this direct investment in our country. There is enough new jobs. There's enough new innovation. Where there's a whole boom where people are actually invited in. And I believe that you pair that with self-deportations and deportations, where one of the most promising stats that we've seen is that it's native-born Americans getting the jobs. Because that is the social compact, right? The compact is you are born in this country, and your government's going to care about you more than they do about somebody who wasn't born here, right? That's a central component of it. And if you're a young man that has all this energy, you want to be able to get married, right? One of the most evolved forms of societal technology is monogamy. You get married to one woman. You're not competing up against the alpha guy that gets a harem of 15, and you're left without any eligible women. You get to put your energy into building your family. You get to put your energy into raising your children. You get to put your energy in having a job and building wealth. If you can do those things, you're going to have a very stable society. This is why the West, has been so successful, is because we had this ethic of monogamy, and you had people with innovative ideas that created economic opportunity. Those pieces, we are in this race against the clock. If we can do those things, I believe that we will convert the lost, meaning that you see this 30% of the radical liberals. They're gonna eventually age out. They're gonna lose some of that steam, and they're gonna realize that, hey, buying into the system isn't the worst thing. That's my hope.
I actually will offer up some other optimism in a very dark way, and to offer up a counter to what I was saying about liberals getting crazier. Liberals don't have kids. If they do, if it's usually not often, but they have them on accident and then terminate them before they come to fruition, which is horrifying.
Or that one song you.
Or they tricked by Ben Folds.
Yeah.
He's getting struck. That song is so.
That's so dark.
very dark.
I'm so glad you told me about that, because I would sing it just kind of, because it's one of those songs you sing in the background.
I'm drowning.
I just figured it was a toxic relationship. I didn't think it was about, she got pregnant and now she's bringing me down with her. I don't want this baby. That's
Yup.
dark.
Yeah,
That's
That's dark.
But hey, we look at these violent liberals and we go, it's very dark, but there won't be very many of them.
Let me add one more piece to that. I agree with you. We're gonna outbreed them. I remember Charlie said something up to that effect, a few weeks before it happened, and he got said that. Yeah, it's true, because if you actually look at fertility rates, I think if you look at conservatives in the West, we're still above replacement, like 2.7, but liberals are like 1.6. Something.
Christians tend to be. I think we've gone over this quite a bit. I think Christians average like 1.8.
stats.
And
Oh, I saw a
It's-
different stat.
The
so-
official data from Pew is Catholics and evangelicals are above replacement, 2.2,
Jesus.
2.3.
Yeah.
It's the main lines and like the kind of non-affiliated Christians
well,
are dragging it down.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Those aren't even they don't even count most of
That's
that.
like
There's like the random like exception to the rule, but that's
the
not really.
Catholics are all cheering.
Well, no,
each other.
we love the Catholics. Here's what I would say though. This is the other piece of that, and it ties into the story that kind of led us in here. You have to punish evil. If you do not punish evil, society falls apart. You get more radicalization. You get more vigilantism. You have to punish evil. And when those progressives that think it's really cool to commit violence will get.
I have to say, I'm rather jealous. Everybody.
I'll tell you one thing that really bothers me. And there's a challenge in that our memories are actually short. No matter how smart we are, no matter how good at our jobs or clever we think we are, our memories are actually very short. It's fascinating how many people, even on the right, don't remember the severity of things. But that being said, I want to make sure just to grab this context of it was less than a year ago that a healthcare CEO was assassinated in cold blood, shot in the back in New York. The alleged assassin, Luigi Mangione, has been venerated by the left, and we all warned, Charlie especially, that this is an assassination culture. The left is now seeing that they will get praised when they do this. They're going to view themselves like martyrs or heroes of like the civil rights icons, or like John Brown. Not even a year after this, they kill Charlie. Because in the mind of these liberals, what's their worst case scenario? They will be celebrated, they will be celebrities, and when they win their revolution, they'll be free. That's the terrifying reality. We need to make sure that young people think, no way, you can't do that, you will get crushed. Do not do it. That is not the way to get started. The problem I see with these people is that the state has been, for the longest time, unwilling to level this force against them. Like I was mentioning with the George Floyd riots, the Ferguson riots, Baltimore, there were some issues for sure
I
with
think the
police
job
being
market has gotten worse.
I watch
or
all these
better,
videos where either the police
like
are
the past,
letting these
I don't
people.
know, past year.
The job what has gotten worse?
Do you think the job market has gotten better or worse in the past year?
Worse. Remember when we would walk and I said, hey, it's a 6.6 now, 6.7, 8, 6.9. I think it's over 7 now.
It's bad.
As unemployment climbs, the promise of a grocery store job lures hundreds. Bro, if that's the headline you're trying to get or trying to put out for something positive, then that's crazy, and that's CBC as well, so that's fucking literal fucking fake shit right there. Like, what, a few hundred people? Was that going to change?
People run around and
7%
smash windows,
to
like in
anything?
DC, which I'm or unable to stop them.
Probably lost.
So these young radicals
those
are told
100
you will
jobs
win when you
somewhere
do
else.
this. We've got funding, we've got
that
lawyers,
time. Yeah.
you will not spend a day in jail, you will get a badge of honor.
And then they got money for it, and they got
They need
compensated
to
for it.
end,
They won the
they
lawsuit
settled.
afterwards.
They settled.
Temporary foreign worker program.
Dude, we just gotta end all that shit,
yeah.
man. All of it, man.
Yeah. We need to like set the ship straight because we're in a sinking ship right now.
We're in a sinking
many-
ship right now
too
and
many
we don't
mouths to
have
feed.
fucking water pumps. We don't have bilge pumps. So we're taking whatever water we take in, it's there until we patch it. We gotta get those bilge pumps though. Like I've said before, it's not because white people don't want to work at Walmart, because if you go to Vaughan, you see a bunch of white people at Walmart and the Fortinos, and they're probably all rich kids. So if a fucking rich kid is gonna work at Walmart, then a fucking poor one will. Oh, do you have Netflix? Yeah. That movie I asked you about, Christine, is on there.
Oh, the haunted car or whatever.
Yeah.
Christine, with like a C.
CH.
Christine. Yeah, I'll give it a look sometime. You said it was a 70s movie?
Yeah, I don't know what year specifically. It's definitely after 68, but I don't know what year specifically. Oh, okay, 83. I thought it was a little older than that.
DC,
New York,
the
too.
rioters won over $1 million.
Same in New York. I think same in St. Louis.
Again,
Insane.
It's another thing. I mean, I said it again. It's a feature of this. It's not a bug. It's like this is the point of the regime, is they're trying to demoralize young people. Like if you're a young American patriot and you're going to New York City and you just see disorder and disarray and these delinquents getting let off left and right, that tells you that this is your principal city, and it's a total disaster, and it's just embarrassing. You feel embarrassed to be an American.
It's national
demoralizing.
broken windows.
It's demoralizing.
Yeah, but it's worse than that. But this is why, one of the people, when Trump was kind of reasserting control of D.C., that spoke very clearly from a moral standpoint, was Judge Jeanine Pirro, and now she's, I guess, U.S. Attorney, right?
She's great.
She was like, I don't care if they're 14, they're going in, because these kids are doing unthinkable crimes, but they're 14. Oh, we can't punish them. So what do? They go out and do it some more. They go in these roving gangs. The second you bring the hammer down on this and you actually have a backbone, don't listen to what the left says. Oh, it's the end of democracy. They've got one card. The end of democracy fashion. Well, it didn't work in November, all right? And we've got to have our own confidence, self-confidence, that just doing the common sense thing is ultimately going to pay dividends. And if it doesn't, then yeah, we're all screwed.
Well, yeah,
When you buy stakes that you're getting the sensation that you're going over budget.
Whenever I go to the grocery store, I do. But yeah.
So it's damn near like $40 for like a steak, right? Like a cut of steak that you get.
Well, yeah, I rarely get one that's 40, but usually they're like high 20s. Just the last couple of weeks, there's been almost no variety.
Variety in terms of what you buy, or just what you've been eating.
Like I think I went to Virginia's 2 or 3 times in a row, and they didn't have any of the steaks that I buy. They were all like the fucking massive pieces with the bone.
So everybody's buying the cheaper steak. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, like the one that I buy.
I'm assuming the smaller ones are cheaper, right? So.
Yeah. But like what they do with the one that I buy, they cut it in half and then sell it as a 2-piece. But I don't like getting that one because they're so thin that they just cook so quick.
They cut it in half, like thick-wise?
Yeah, height, not length.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Because I guess most people don't like super thick pieces of steak, which I do.
a line was crossed, and
Yeah.
everyone, especially here, knows it. So when they say, "Oh, but our democracy," I'll be like, I kind of thought democracy was threatened when we killed Charlie Kirk.
Right.
When the guy who was hosting college debates, who was willing to
It's
allow
just
anyone to have a conversation
unbelievable
and come
how
up to him and challenge him and prove.
it went from a person, a single person, working a job, a regular job, can afford a home, and now it's people working multiple jobs,
Yeah, it's like 2 people.
only able to afford a room.
Yeah. That's when you know the people that argue graph go up equals good, you know they're retarded.
Like, who gives a shit if the GDP is growing if everybody's quality of life is going down? Like, I don't fucking care about. It's like, yeah, we put out more stuff, gross domestic product, but it's like, man, something's got to give at some point, man. I don't understand how more people haven't just checked out already.
I don't know. I think there's actually something with this country specifically, because even in France, England, Netherlands, a bunch of other countries, people are getting tired of it. Japan. I think it's this place that's just really weird. We're too forgiving's not the right word, but we're too like easygoing when we're getting screwed.
You ever just, well, I mean, obviously, I don't have to ask you, but like, specifically, like when you're sleeping or whatever, you just, wake up, you just wake up in the middle of the night, but you don't just wake up, you wake up with your heart pounding out of your chest and like you're like in a panic mode, basically. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, I've had it before.
Now, is that because like you were having a nightmare, or is it just like holy fuck, like is that like some kind of like anxiety, like existential dread or some shit?
That I don't know. I haven't actually looked it up, so I don't know.
Because I've been getting like those like pretty frequently now.
A lot of the time I'm so fucking tired when like something like that happens, where I don't even get up, because if I do get up, I'll get that lightheaded shit, or I get the you know when you can like hear your pulse in your head?
Yeah. Yeah.
If I do that while that's happening, I'll probably black out. So I just don't even do anything.
Yeah. This is some of the conspiracies people have been talking about when it comes to Charlie Kirk?
I've heard that there are some, but I haven't heard any. Do you know any?
So, my manager at the depot, like I saw him on Sunday, and yeah, like he told me that some people believe he's still alive.
The trapdoor.
Well, no, not like a like I don't know like how, but so like one of the pictures of like the shooter, whatever his name is, like Tommy Robinson or whatever, or Tyler, whatever. There's one of him in his room, like by his computer, and on the desktop, like I don't know, it's like on his screen. There's like a Google Earth image of like some map, right? And like that's not like you wouldn't think anything of it, right? But then like after like everything went down, the FBI guy, what's his name? Like the main guy.
Cash.
Yeah, Cash. I guess he's like delivering remarks or whatever. But then like he says, I'll see you in Valhalla, Charlie. Right? Like Charlie's a Christian, right? So why wouldn't he just say like, I'll see you in heaven, right? So people are beginning to speculate, why the hell is this guy saying, I'll see you in Valhalla, right? Like it just seems very odd coming from him. And I think he's a Christian too, or like whatever, right? But not like a fucking Nordic person or whatever, right? So
Who's a Christian? Tyler?
no,
Or
like
Kirk?
Charlie or
Yeah,
whatever.
Christian.
Yeah. So like they're wondering like why is he saying I'll see you in Valhalla, right? So people just like kept looking into it, right? And somebody found out that the map, like the Google Earth image on the shooter's desktop was some place in New Zealand, right? It's like some like very secretive place. They don't like really let people like explore the grounds there. And there's like this island. There's this island, and like in it, there's this place called like Valhalla. And people are like drawing a connection, like, so the shooter just coincidentally has a map of this place on his computer, like the most obscure place. And then Cash is talking about, we'll see you in Valhalla. And so yeah, people are speculating, oh, he's not dead. He's like, I don't know, like he's like off at that island somewhere. And then like Cash is gonna go visit him.
Well, I've heard I've heard a theory that there was a trap door at the like on the stage, so when he dropped down, he just fell right through. But
I mean, I don't know about that.
there were pictures of it.
But there was
from
another
above.
thing. Yeah, there was another thing. You know, like, there was a book published like a couple days before the assassination, and
Yeah,
it was
that
like
was
literally
taken down.
titled,
Yeah, I think I
yeah,
told
the
you
shooting
about that.
of
It was
Charlie
taken
Kirk.
down, like, yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. And that guy, the guy with his pants down, I think you already told me this, like, he was at 9/11, he was at the other shit. He was at, what was it? The bald guy, like the fat old bald guy that they initially thought was the shooter.
Oh yeah,
He
the
was saying,
one
kill
was-
me, kill me.
Yeah, he said that he was the shooter. That's why they arrested him. He was
Yeah, you know he was at like 9/11 and all those other places?
I heard that it was somewhere, but I didn't.
He was apparently like he was at like a lot of other like crazy shit that happened, and then when they look into it, he gets charged with child pornography, right? So they immediately get him arrested, so nobody can fucking do like an interview with him or anything. So it's just like, very strange. I guess that's how they do it, right?
Prove him wrong.
But this is why they wanted him so badly to be MAGA. They wanted him to be a Groiper or a MAGA or whatever, because then they could wipe their hands clear and clean of everything that they've said, every nasty smear, every hyperbolic, hyperventilating lie that they have heaped on us, because then they could just, you know what, it was not our fault, it's one of yours. That's just why it was so crucial, this lie, and why the fact that he has not apologized is infuriating Jimmy Kimmel.
Yep.
Because it's basically just sweeping it under the rug like they never had any complicity in this, and it's just not true. I mean, listen, ABC is free to make its own mistakes, but I hope it's a Pyrrhic victory. I hope people will not watch it.
I was going to ask you guys, who do you think, or what do you think is responsible for this type of extremism on the left? I mean, I have my own theories, but I think we need to quantify that before we start to unravel and try to fix that particular problem, because
What do you think?
I think it's a combination of berating, beating down young men and boys in our society, not giving them any opportunities, not giving them any chances, telling them that they're imperfect no matter what, that they're always wrong, that they need to apologize. I think that type of berating, as well as the institutions in our system that have robbed them blind of any kind of economic opportunities, specifically the fractional Federal Reserve banking system. I'm going to keep talking about that because that just pisses me off, the way everyone gets robbed here. But I think social media played another role, and I think there was a deliberate effort. Social media has always been in the control, many people don't believe this, but in the intel agencies. The intel agencies run the algorithms, and I think there's a lot more of this to kind of delve into, specifically when it comes to radicalizing people and moving people that the intel agencies have moved to this particular point, which gives them the perfect pretext to now kind of to clamp down.
It's the One Ring, though. I agree with you. I think, I had some activist friends who called...
Replenish skin and rosy radiance. Clarence, new rose radiance. Power peptides plus a hint of pink. And our breakthrough retinol-like technology to boost collagen synthesis by 12, a lift replenishing effect, and rosy radiance. Your super restorative skincare. Clarence.
Intervention. What I think happened, though, is these platforms were trying to maximize attention, and they found very early on, when they switched to algorithmic feeds, that hate and anger generated the most amount of attention and shares. And so this naturally gave rise to videos about police brutality, because you actually even had, Alex Jones, and you had the far left complain about police brutality because nobody likes injustice. These websites then started, these companies that were using them to make money realized it's not just police brutality, but racism, sexism, all of these isms will give you a boost in the algorithm because people get offended and angry and they want to share it. All of a sudden, BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, Mike.com, you name it, all turned into these liberal activist blogs because how much money they were making. Whenever something on the right would try and rise up, they'd ban it for being hate speech or whatever because they didn't want to lose advertisers who were scared. I think the intelligence agencies did want to utilize these platforms. Clearly that failed them, like the One Ring, because Trump ends up getting elected, and then working towards shutting down all of the things they've been trying to do. I think they, and I mean like the uniparty establishment politics in this country, have been crushed, and it's somewhat their own making.
Yeah, well, I think what they're doing, like the ICs and the social media big platforms, these sorts of things, is they're just exploiting the underlying philosophy behind leftism, which is it's anti-hierarchical. And now we have an actual tangible political force that is telling people no. Like, no, you can't beat people up in the streets. No, you can't do this. No, you can't change your gender. No, racism's not the reason that, like, you suck. Like, we have an actual party that's telling people no, and that drives them absolutely wild. And then the ICs, the social media platforms, they're just exploiting that philosophy behind that.
I want to pull the story. I've got some post-millennial. And Omar says Charlie Kirk has no legacy to honor in hate-filled interview with Don Lemon. Rep. Ellen Omar doubled down on her criticism of the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk during an interview with Don Lemon, saying she has nothing to apologize for and dismissing any effort to portray Kirk's work as honorable. Quote, I have nothing to apologize for, you know. It is a tragedy that Charlie Kirk was killed in that way. I feel for his widow and his children. They will have to live with that for the rest of their lives, but there is no legacy to honor. It was a legacy filled with bigotry, hatred, and white supremacy. I also want to throw in this video from our old friend Don Lemon.
Men who look like you, men who vote like you, and men who sound like you. White men, something is broken. Something is cracked deep inside when so many of you believe the answer to fear, to loss, to change is violence.
Shall I go back and cite the data we just had a moment ago when Don Lemon says something so shockingly insane and racist?
But, like, you know, obviously these are high-profile incidents, but, like, is he going to address gang violence in America? Like, do we need to, like, have the conversation about, you know, how many of the murders in this country are committed by a very small proportion of, like, pretty young black men?
6% of the population, about.
Yeah, I mean, like, are you gonna address that, Don? Are you gonna address the fact that it's your side that's radicalized? Yeah, I mean, you could take it either way, but they're both sort of like shooting at. I actually have no idea what he's talking.
Like, what are white men guilty of being, like, nice to police officers? Like, is that the?
Yeah, but by the way, like, we didn't burn down cities. We didn't burn down and loot businesses. You know, we didn't have mostly peaceful rioting after Charlie. We prayed.
But didn't he marry a white guy? What did they say? Colonizer in the sheets, and what's the phrasing?
Revolutionary in the streets.
Revolutionary in the streets, colonizer in the sheets.
I'm gonna intentionally make this personal and hokey for a reason. I was skateboarding at Freedom Plaza in DC. I'm pretty good at skateboarding. These leftists went on forums and said that Tim Pool couldn't even do a show. Now, for those who don't know, that's like a very basic trick children do, and I was actually doing pretty advanced tricks. And the reason I intentionally make this hokey is, the reason they say this is because in their cult of people, the liberal cult has their high priests like Jimmy Kimmel who know their line, and the run-of-the-mill liberals who don't pay attention or read the news. They just believe whatever is they're told. The purpose of lying about someone like me is to create in their mind, ignore him, he's not a real skateboarder. And so they want to try and isolate me, my views, my team, my company from the industry.
Dog, I hit someone's
I bring this up intentionally, as I said, making it hokey. The idea that Charlie Kirk has no legacy to honor is the stupidest thing imaginable, considering TPUSA, AmFest already has people saying it's bigger than the RNC, and it's the biggest right-wing political convention, if not the biggest political convention in the country over the past several years, since its inception. She says this. There's no legacy to honor because to the liberals who follow her, they don't pay attention. There was that viral...
Bar none, there's nothing else better than Auto Trader.
Knowing they're Canadian, I think absolutely is a cherry on top.
That definitely changes the game for me.
It's been around for 50 years, and it's still the best place to buy or sell a car. The answer is Auto Trader.
Oh, the Black Mother and Charlie was like,
oh, yeah, I mean, that was a great one.
Yeah, I mean, but there's tons of that. I mean, you know, Charlie, what they do, and this is why I genuinely don't mean this as a selfish plug, but you know, we did an episode on Thursday where we went through all of what we would think the most viral on the left clips, taking Charlie out of context, whether that be the brain processing power of black women. Not true. It's not at all true. He didn't say that. He talked about Sheila Jackson Lee and Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson, who all have basically said we wouldn't have made it without affirmative action. And Charlie's like, yeah, we know. You know, this is not a surprise if anybody's listening to it. And by the way, we went through like our chats and what we were, you know, in our show, what we were talking about before he said that. And we went through the black pilot thing, which was, you know, he didn't worry about black pilots now because the black pilots now didn't have this quota system. Meanwhile, the United Airlines pilot or CEO is saying that each new pilot corps is going to be 50-50. Well, that's all well and good until you find out only 9% of people of color, women, apply to be pilots, new pilots. 91% of the pilot population happens to be white men. So you're telling me, in that instance, that you're going to populate 50% of your pilots out of 9% of the population of new pilots? How are you not going to lower standards in that instance? So Charlie was saying, if you're going to move forward with this, I might have suspicion when I get on that plane because I'm going to know that you're going to have to lower standards. So whatever the issue was, there is a very logical explanation for why Charlie said this. They're intentionally trying to, you know, obscure the truth, but like just so brazenly lie. To your point, like how do you even make that point with a straight face? Like, did you not just see what has been, you know, galvanized around the world? Do you think you could just repeat the lie enough and it'll become the truth? Like, not this time. We all saw it. We saw vigils and prayer lights and the memorial. We saw that the gospel being presented to the biggest audience in the history of humanity. We all saw it.
I will say this. As much as I have complained about liberals, I was shocked to discover on my Facebook or Instagram defending the assassin, praising the assassination. There were also very many liberals who I saw come out in support of Charlie and TPUSA.
Your castle
There were some.
Minecraft
There were some.
dogs?
Throw it back to skateboarding because this is what I do, right? There were some professional skateboarders who I did not know to be political at all, and boy did they piss off the left when some of the biggest names in skateboarding came out and said, "I'll shout Steve Caballero, a legend in skateboarding, came out and said, you know, condolences and said kind words." All of these lefty skateboarders were just so angry.
You can't tell the truth. How dare you tell the truth?
Well, I think, you know, we've talked about the silent majority for a long time. People who obviously don't believe in the sterilization of children or sex changes for kids or whatever, but were too scared to speak up because it was their jobs.
Damn, this fucking
What ends up
car has a
happening then is,
GPS.
with something so
I have the
shocking
same
as what
kind of
happened
one
to
like
Charlie,
that.
I think a lot of people snapped their
What the
attention
hell?
and said, we better speak now or forever hold our peace.
Listen, I am a glass half
Ooh.
I am. It's not just my job. I
Is this place
genuinely
city?
believe
Yeah,
this nation is
Miami.
doesn't mean we get to have it forever. Doesn't mean that we're guaranteed anything. We got to fight for it. But you know, when you talk about liberals coming
Yeah,
out
that
and
street I was just
actually
on is
defending
the same
truth,
street.
that's a good sign. It's a good sign. When you see moderates
the
coming out
guy
to defend the truth, that's a good sign. This
main
is
character
insane
shoots
that we've come this
that guy in
far,
the street
no doubt.
in Scarface.
But
with
there-
actually
there is
very
a
similar
belief,
car charges
and
actually.
there is a prayer that I have
Just a
that we are
convertible.
going to see. We're going to see things politically that we couldn't even imagine in November, because there are enough, a remnant of sanity in this country that's going to say, we can't have this anymore. We cannot have this. This is so shocking, so terrifying. This is so, like, I'm so freaked out for my kids that this is a potential reality that we're sliding down, that we say no more.
My prediction is, in about a year's time, we will get at least within, but I think by. I think 1 year from now, there will likely be another high-profile targeted assassination, perhaps attempt or terror attack. I'm not saying the probability is really, really high. There's a lot of things that'll happen between now and then, so I think I said maybe it'll be 6% likelihood, whatever. I just see that as the strongest possibility because I do too. And I'll stress this again. I think 94% chance anything other happens. But the assassination of Charlie has exposed so many of these people celebrating, lying, defending, and it's 2 weeks, and we're going almost on 3 weeks, and they're doubling down and they're emboldening themselves and they're pushing harder now with like what Ilhan Omar is saying. Where will we end up a year from now, just before the midterms? I think the Democrats will be hurting because their ideology is clearly pissing a lot of people off, scaring a lot of people. We saw this with Trump winning the popular vote, the Republicans sweeping everything. People are waking up I'm seeing there's liberals that I know that have gotten red-pilled in the past 5 years, especially with how bad Joe Biden was. What does a desperate ideology do when they're looking at a mid...
When your dog hears the call of the wild, have the right fuel to answer. Blue Wilderness Chicken, with 30% more protein than Purina Pro Plan chicken, is formulated to give your dog the energy they need to take on the wild with you. Blue Wilderness, stay wild.
Once you lose your enamel, you can't really get it back. Strong enamel. Nothing beats it. Pro Enamel Active Shield.
See, with the ICE raids, Donald Trump sending in the National Guard, they're not going to accept that the people of this country have spoken. Trump won a popular vote. The people said, hey, deal with the immigration crisis. The left is saying no, and there have been 3 terror attacks on ICE already. I hate to say it because people are going to get mad at me for being black-pilled, but guys, Trump, it's not even we won. We all voted, we said, listen, we don't like what Joe Biden was doing in this country. We don't like his policies. His economic policies were no good. His foreign policy was no good. His immigration policy was a nightmare. Trump, please reverse these things. He's begun to, and they are using terrorism and violence to try and stop and obstruct. They have used assassinations.
Can I say one thing about that? I didn't think we would do this, and we would
That
say,
guy
hey,
got...
Yeah, we talked about
Holy shit, that
because I
guy.
think all of them. But then when you see Ilhan Omar, you see Donlan, and you see AOC, and you see these people hemming and hawing and
That
trying to
is
like
fucking-
hedge, Jimmy Kimmel lying about who
That is
committed the
ketchup
atrocity.
right there.
Then it becomes a they.
Oh, yeah.
Then it becomes a you all share this burden, and you guys are all complicit. You are culpable, and like, you know, I want us to get unity. I remember we did the JD Vance hosted Charlie's show on the Monday after, and he took some flack from these same people because he said, "Listen, I want unity, but first we have to acknowledge the truth." And the truth is that there is one side of the aisle that's propagating this stuff, and you guys have to come to grips with that. And so, yeah, I'm into the they now.
Yeah.
It is a collective guilt that we have to deal with, and they have to reform and call themselves out.
Well, because it's like, I mean, there's people on the right that are like, well, it's not all of them. I'm like, if every single one of their mainstream pundits is endorsing this kind of rhetoric, can you point me to like the dissidents on their side? And they do, and it's like a random stream you've never heard of. But it's like they're in lockstep. And then when you have Ilhan Omar saying there's no legacy to speak of, and she's speaking about Charlie Kirk. What? He's representing America. He's representing American values, Christian values. So she's saying an anti-American rhetoric. She's saying America has no legacy to speak of. Christians have no legacy to speak of. Those are fighting words, whether you like it or not. And that's why people on the right have to wake up of what we're up against. You need to believe them when they tell you these things.
I had a liberal guy that I know hit me up and say, turns out he was a groiper. And I messaged, what was this, like 4 or 5 days? This was around the time that the Jimmy Kimmel stuff was going down. And on my Facebook, they were making, drawing comics. They drew a comic.
I'd be terrified.
Yeah, dude, that car disappeared. Damn. I am one with the other car. Dog, I'm making them into scrap metal, dog.
Meme that they were sharing and going viral, explaining what groypers were and how the assassin of Charlie Kirk was a groyper, and it was shocking lies. They made up this fake one where they're like, groypers sing Bella Ciao. No, they don't. The groypers don't sing Bella Ciao. They don't even know what that is. When I saw that, I was like, it's that. The fact that they'd be willing to go on Facebook and say outright, Charlie Kirk got assassination, yeah, but. And then whatever they wanted. Instead of just being like, guys, no way, we're not playing this game right now. I mean, you know what's crazy to me is that when George Floyd died, even Ben Shapiro came out and said, guys, this looks really bad, it was wrong, it shouldn't have happened. Conservatives have no problem being like, nobody wants anyone killed. Okay? This shouldn't have happened. And then the left comes out and celebrates and cheers. And it is, here's the important thing, right? Right now, you have this Mormon church was attacked. And it's looking like the guy was a Trump-supporting war vet. The motivation appears to be something related internal to the church, not politically motivated in a broad mainstream sense. So here's the point I'm going to make. I don't care if the liberals are like, look, he was a bad guy, the Trump supporter. Like, sure, what was his motivating ideology? When Ilhan Omar and AOC go on the House floor and speak an ideology verbatim to the alleged assassin, I'm like, that's what we are concerned about. That AOC's ideology, these violent murderers have the same worldview. Okay, so that means AOC should be saying to my followers, people who hear me, do not be macho and do it. I have no problem saying to everybody on the right, the day Charlie died, I said cooler heads must prevail. We cannot have retaliation or violence. This needs to be handled by law enforcement. This is what we do.
Your car has so much force behind it that it
and when I say they, again, AOC went on the House floor to smear and besmirch Charlie's good name. Not even 2 weeks. Not even. She couldn't give him a moment.
The moment of silence. The moment of silence moment was just
when they started booing and yelling.
That was a mask off.
That is, I think, the way to go down. It's disgraceful.
I want to play this clip from Bill Maher's show, which, boy, Bill, I just want to say this before we play it. Welcome to the Republican Party.
The basic problem we have in America is conservatives think the liberals are insane, and they're not completely wrong. Now, I don't think most liberals are insane, but neither do they make it clear they disapprove of the ones who are, and their cowardice in not marginalizing their own crazies has been their downfall. I couldn't get Neil deGrasse Tyson, a genius scientist and preeminent scientific voice in the media, to agree that it was ridiculous for Scientific American and The Atlantic to be claiming that separating sports by sex doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Actually, it makes perfect sense. And it's obvious. Left, and when conservatives see it, they say, I'm sorry, we're just not going to go along with reinventing society, often pointlessly, even if we have to cancel democracy to do it. That's what they're saying. They see gender as only a construct and sex is assigned at birth, and they say, we're not doing that. Transing kids by self-diagnosis with no age limit, no parental notification, and no acknowledgement of social contagion, not doing it. Asylum now covers any reason for anyone to come to America, not doing it. Homelessness is a lifestyle. Natural immunity doesn't count anymore. Whiteness is toxic. Penises in women's prisons. Welcoming the Intifada. We're not doing it. And so, folks, if we are ever going to get back to the old America, that's got to be the Democrats' part of the bargain. Stop coming up with radically new and often terrible ideas, and then in the next breath, insist there be no debate about anything. That if you don't see it right away and go along, you're bad, stupid, and deplorable. As if you were saying, duh, 2 + 2 = 5, isn't that obvious? Yeah, it's obvious you can't add. You can't just say shit. Math is racist, queers for Palestine, looting is cool, healthy at any weight. If the men's football team played the women's team, it would be a tie. You can't just say shit. I mean, you can, but it doesn't make it true, because you're not Harry Potter. Smug self-righteousness in the defense of some of the dumbest ideas to ever come down the pike is not a formula that's really working for you. Because here's one thing I can promise every...
Or some of the scoring that gets heaped on him. I will say though, but if you operate in good faith.
Have to grab. We have Michael Thompson who says, "What's up with Brylan?"
Oh,
I went right for that one.
Yeah, I was just coming in hot over here, man. That was like funny to me. Like over the weekend, I've never actually met Brylan.
We've had him on.
Yeah, and now I'm connected with him over text or whatever. And he just reached out to say, hey, I really looked up to Charlie, and you guys are like doing a great job or whatever. I mean, it's just really nice stuff. I mean, to clear the air, if it needs to be cleared, like, no, he is not doing a turning point tour. Not like objective.
Women is that they do have a time limit. 35 years old is called geriatric pregnancy. Medically, it's a medical term. So what's going to happen is, my prediction, a lot of these women hold these political views because
women will follow men that are worth following. A lot of women will. Maybe not all of them.
My theory is that as Gen Z men move to the right, Gen Z women will follow, and it's for some cold, hard science reasons that are probably offensive to feminists, but let me put it like this. Guys don't have a clock. They don't. The saying is that as a guy gets older, the soldiers down there start dying off, but a couple million, you'll need one. And the issue for women is that they do have a time limit. 35 years old is called geriatric pregnancy. Medically, it's a medical term. So what's going to happen is, my prediction, a lot of these women hold these political views because they're socially told to. They want to fit in. Not all of them. Some are strong-willed. Obviously, they exist. But there's going to be some women, they go on a date with the guy, and they're going to sit down, and he's going to say, "Oh, I'm a huge conservative, and I do this," and she's going to say, "Well, I'm Black Lives Matter, and I'm woke." And he's going to say, "Okay, it was really nice meeting you, but I think it's probably better that I leave." And she's going to go, "Well, wait, no, why?" And he's going to say, "Listen, I got all the time in the world. I don't think it's appropriate, and I think we wouldn't work together." Women, again, feminists are going to be mad I'm saying this, but women are going to feel the pressure men do not feel. Men will say, "I'm going to take my time and find something that's right for me." As these younger women age, they're going to say, "I can't afford that."
No, I would tell you one piece of data shows that the women are coming up, and I have not seen enough people talk about this. It's the Yale Youth Survey, or Yale Youth. It was the first poll I've seen where the women are R plus anything. So you saw what it was interesting. You saw young men, the youngest voters, the youngest voting cohort, and that was the college voters. Young men 18 to 21 were like R plus 19. Wow. Yeah. Young women in that same cohort R plus 4.
Wow.
So the youngest. So yeah, if you included 18 to 29, that would be a D plus. But if you just narrow down the younger voters, the 18 to 21, it's R plus 4.
I think that is liberals don't have kids. So I bring this up quite a bit, but I tracked the data several years ago. In the 2000s, conservatives were having 2 kids and liberals were having 1.5. So the consequences were obvious. In 20 years, things would start skewing to the right. So it might accelerate. It absolutely is going to accelerate. But here's the scary thing. That R plus, Gen Alpha is still only around 42 million. Half the size of Gen Z, half the size of millennials. So we're seeing a shift towards the right, because the right did have kids, conservatives and Christians had kids, but the population size is very small. Let's grab this from Bone Shanks. He says, Charlie met everything head on, regardless of what was in his way. We have to keep this in mind, and it's what I have as the caption for my alarms to wake up every day. Quote, "You're not allowed to quit." Hear, hear. That's how I feel. And I think, when people make comments about how you're supposed to feel or grieve in the wake of all this stuff, I came into this building with the crew. We're getting ready to go. They were working here. They never stopped working here. Each and every person here who knew and loved Charlie is working and doing their jobs. No one's stopped. No one's giving up. No one's breaking down. But of course, everybody is sad and scared. But the job must go on. The mission must not stop.
By the way, Charlie would be. You know how you disgrace it?
Listen, paying $14.99 a month for a streaming app, and $9.99 a month for a music app, and $12.99 for a fitness app, and more money for a bunch of other apps, that really adds up. So why not get YouTube Premium for just $12.99? It's like having all those and the entire world of YouTube uninterrupted. Your wallet will thank you. If wallets could talk. YouTube Premium. Try 1 month, free of charge.
Did that. And I'm so glad that we did.
Shout out to Alex Brusowitz, because he went and did a Fox hit right after, and I was watching with my wife, and he was trying his best to hold together, but you could tell. I mean, he's fighting crying on live television. It's just so many people were. I'll add this. So many people who didn't even know it were so insanely affected. I can't even begin to tell you. I got people, prominent person as I mentioned. I don't want to call anybody out, who are texting me about how hurt and how devastated they were by this. They didn't even know the guy. So, for all those people who stood up and did the job, and to be a man who's on the verge of crying on national television, I respect it. You are not going to stop doing your job despite the emotional toll it's taking on you. I've made the joke, men are only allowed to cry when the dog dies. No one else. No one else. I'm kidding, of course. I think it's what they say, courage is not the absence of fear. It's doing what you have to do in spite of your fear. And what it means to be a man is feeling that pain, but standing up and doing the job because someone has to do it.
Yeah, I had to do a hit to sort of on the I was the Friday night when Erica gave her first address, and I did it with Laura Ingram, like out on the street, out, you know, and I was on the verge of tears the whole time, you know, and I still kind of look back and go like, why the hell did I do that? But it was because, again, I had this mantra in my head, like Charlie would want that, like he would demand, like if he gave his life for this, the least I could do is be a part of channeling this energy that was just unleashed on the country and help push it to the good. That's like, I mean, you just have to be a part of the solution at that point, like because Charlie gave the last full measure. This is what he believed in, and we have to. There's no option not to.
It was hard when I first.
Here on a Monday night, while I am multitasking, watching Monday Night Football, the suspension of his channel. Remember that? 24.5. President Trump is approaching 100 million in settlements as ABC, CBS, Meta, and others have already paid out. Trump is always winning. It never fails. Trump is the man. They continue to try and silence him. They continue to try and do everything to dethrone the Don, but nothing works. Trump is inevitable. Let's see here. Look right here. Look at here. Somebody tagged me in this. Who tagged me in this? The Raging D-Head right here. It says, on Monday, YouTube agreed to pay $24.5 million to President Trump, ending a 2021 lawsuit over his account suspension from January 6th. The suit targeted YouTube's account suspension after the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, with YouTube restoring Trump's account in 2023, citing his presidential bid. Under the deal, $22 million will be directed to a trust for the National Mall for a White House ballroom, and Trump will receive $16 million up front. Let's go! Love it. Trump just continuing to destroy these clowns, and it's beautiful to see.
Okay. Funny, like, before.
Nope. And I got really fucking annoyed.
That's
okay?
fine.
At one point, somebody mentioned they were naming a bunch of porn stars and shit like that. Like, what about her? Isn't she so hot? And I was like, nope. And I got really fucking annoyed.
That's
okay?
fine.
At one point, somebody mentioned her name.
Okay, I thought that it was something like foul. I thought that he was saying something like disrespectful about me. Not. That's fine.
I didn't know who she
That's
was.
fine.
So I just said.
I'll be back. What? Where do you want your stuff? Oh, sorry. Move.
No matter what they do, no matter how many times they've tried to hold this man down, you cannot stop Trump. It will not happen. No matter what you do, big tech, no matter what you do, mainstream media, no matter what you do, he will always win. The Don always wins. Just the way it should be. This is awesome, man. Holy crap. JB username says, I've been trying to move out of California for over 10 years, but the wife doesn't want to leave her family. I need ICE to get their shit together and start pumping up those numbers. I hear you, man. And it's obviously tough when you have family obligations and things like that. I totally understand. I get it. I get it. So, but one thing you cannot deny is that California has some of the most beautiful scenery in the world. Like, it's absolutely stunning for most parts of it. And it's sad that it's become what it's become because of the government there and liberals in Hollywood and leftists and all of that. But yeah, man, if Trump is able to clean house in California, man, exactly, Sleepy.
That's what happens when you only get 1 hour of sleep, dude.
JRG Projects is on Fox. They literally just showed a bunch of Democrats performing black magic outside of an ICE facility, just shutting down the entire party and make Fetterman a Republican at this point. This country is a total circus. Democrats are a total circus, no doubt about that. I agree completely. But again, they're in desperation mode. What happens when something is at the end? It becomes desperate. Democrats are in desperation mode right now because they know that the end is near for them. They know that they cannot continue on this path. Trump has destroyed them. He's destroyed every single ounce of the Democratic Party. He's exposed them. He's shown the world who they are, and they are now desperate. They're desperate, and they're showing it every day. Ministry of Wrong Things says, Jeremy, stop it before you go on. You must disavow Erica Kirk. She was smiling and keeping her promise, to her late husband to maintain what he started. This is an outrage somehow. Yeah, again, the nonsense surrounding, Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk's unfortunate assassination, but there's some people that are there's some people making a lot of money off this by just spewing nonsense, and more power to them. I think they should be able to say whatever they want. As insane as it is, I think they should absolutely
I kind of want to
have
make
the ability to do that.
a place here
and
on
there's
this
a lot
mushroom
of people that are going to listen
island,
to
but
what they're saying and buy into it. More power to them. But it's just insane. It's absolutely ridiculous. But again, what do you expect from the anti-Israel crowd? They've been making shit up for years, and everybody's like, well, I think there's something to this. Well, look where they're at now. I mean, they're just literally they're making up shit that's just even some of the people on their side are going, okay, what? What are you talking about? It's insane. MAGA Crack a Mic for $20 is they can't stop us. If any of you ever questions whether we are actually winning, just use your own eyes and ears. They're making up shit that's just even some of the people on their side are going, okay, what? What are you talking about? It's insane. MAGA Crack a Mic for $20 is they can't stop us. If any of you ever questions whether we are actually winning, just use
cows,
your own
dog.
eyes and ears. We have never had this many victories in such a short amount of time. Never give up. Always push forward. Let's freaking go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Thank you. And you're right. You are correct. It's almost overwhelming at this point in time. That's where we're at. It's almost like there are so many things happening. I took like a couple of days that I wasn't on Twitter all day, and I was still on Twitter, but I just wasn't on it because I was driving, I was traveling, I was in meetings, things like that, and I felt like 10 million things happened. It's crazy. Orange Gaunt says, happy Jessica, gig'em. Zero with the gifted membership. Thank you, Master of Puppets. Says my wife watching for the first time. Please explain 199. Oh boy. Well, first of all, I want to apologize to your wife in advance. I am retarded, very retarded, to the point where it will make you feel much better about yourself. But one of the things that I do is when people that don't like me come into the chat and criticize me, they often misspell because the people that don't like me are very stupid people. So it's not a difficult thing. It's a very easy thing to manipulate the people that hate me. So they're already stupid. So then they come in here and they're emotionally worked up, and they tend to type something out of anger and emotion, and they're really unstable, and they misspell something. And what we do is we take that and we meme their misspelling. Someone was in a Geeks and Gamers stream, and they meant to say 1999, talking about Star Wars Celebration starting in 1999, but they actually just said 199 instead. And so the chat started saying, you know, 199, we are the 199. And so I saw the chat saying that, and so we just ran with it. I assumed it was going to be for one stream. We were just going to laugh at this idiot, and we're done. The next stream starts, and the whole chat is just full of 199. Hail the 199. We are the 199. And I'm going, oh my God, this is not going away. So then I was like, I'm fully leaning into this now. So that's kind of the gist of it. We have an article on geeksandgamers.com. I'm sure Jessica is dropping the link right there, but we have an article on the website that kind of breaks it down, and it shows the clip. Same with IDOT. You know, IDOT is something that's taking a life of its own because someone meant to call us idiots, but they said IDOT. And I think that was a Beardo J stream. And so, you know, IDOT now is the mascot of Geeks and Gamers. We're idiots. So yeah, that's the kind of basic summary of it right there. Allenton Ashley says, California's trash. I grew up here in Los Angeles, but it's out of control. My friend, who is third generation, can't even afford to live here anymore, and she makes six figures. It's up in the air if even I stay. I hear you on that, man. I mean, I've never, like, I've, you know, I actually stayed in Los Angeles for several months a long, long time ago. But I've never, like, been there, like, you know, with my family and living there and all of that. But I have been up North California a couple times, and it is stunning up there. But Southern California, like LA and Hollywood and all of that, is just a disaster. At least it was. Anthony for 50 says Donald Trump is the king of the world. I'm hoping helping the video game industry out gets back right on track. Move the video games.
The fucking Wolverine
to
game is a PlayStation
can
exclusive.
work there. Don't have to be woke, Jeremy. You're the best. Anthony, I love you, man. That was a hell of a run-on sentence, man. Holy crap, that was a run-on sentence. I know I sounded stupid, and I already sound stupid just by default, but that was a hell of a run-on sentence, brother. Respect to you. There was no abbreviations, there was no commas, there was no periods, there was nothing. Just bloom. Respect, brother. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. Hail to you, Anthony. Let's see. Where are we at? I got Zero's gifted membership. Zero says, if you promoted Lil Gay Kada, would he be a micro manager? Yes, he would. Yes, he would. Pray for Ripa. He still thinks nothing's happening. What are you talking about? Ripa's been making a lot of videos lately, so I watched some of them. So I'm glad Ripa's back on it. So EA bought by Saudis for $55 billion. I have mixed feelings not being U.S. owned, but at least they will get rid of all the fig shit. What's funny is
what do you think about EA getting bought?
Claiming Israel bought it. I saw people literally claiming Israel purchased EA, and I'm like, my God. These anti-Israel people are so freaking retarded, man. Oh my God. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, it's like people that just They're so obsessed. They were in the Geeks and Gamers live chat, Geeks and Gamers daily live chat. They're like, Israel purchased it. And it's like, what are you talking about? Good Lord. Anyway, EA, this is a massive deal. I mean, this is a massive deal. And I'm not going to pretend to have an understanding of how this is going to play out or not. But listen, EA can burn in hell. So whatever happens, I still think is going to be a net positive, even if it's crap, because EA is so bad and they are so hated as a video game company that anything is better than what we've got. Now, does that mean it'll be good? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. But we'll see. Alan Tanasi says, by the way, pull up the story about my friend Sarah Rose Kennedy being attacked at the UN on New York Post. She is part of the administration under RFK. Met her years ago, and now she works for the administration. Sarah Rose, I know that name. I'll look that up. Joshua Miller says, I won't bother claiming which direction you eat corn, but I will tell you that you are my favorite shekel-crazed Alabama flipper baby. Hail Snake Pit and the idiots, you mean the IDOTs of the 199. Happy Jessica and Beardo Fat. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. John freaking Murdoch for 50 says, hey, Jeremy, congrats on your Bama win. Chat lives matter. Mod lives matter. Happy Jessica. Thank you. Listen, Alabama played a hell of a game. I was very proud of the Tide after beating Georgia. I did not expect them to beat Georgia, but I'm very, very happy that they did. So it was a hell of a game. It was a good game. Okay, we got Hayden Wayne from 50 says, with the EA buyout, I know some people are worried about layoffs from EA. The only thing I'm worried about is all of those woke writers and employees are just going to be spread out among other game companies. They do this every time. Look out. Yeah, I don't care. Listen, I'm just sorry. I don't care if it makes me a heartless piece of garbage, then so be it. If you work for EA, I don't care if you get laid off. I really don't. I don't care. I'm sorry. No, I'm actually not sorry at all. I do not care about you if you work for EA. You have done nothing but alienate gamers for decades, and now we're supposed to have sympathy for you? No, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Hayden Wayne from the 50 says, there are people that help those who get laid off get new jobs in the gaming by bluffing their resume. Remember Amir, is it Satvat, the guy that Game Awards gave oh yes, I remember that gave recognition to last year. That's what he does. I have a video about him on my channel. I do remember that. I absolutely remember that. 1000%, you're correct.
You fall
and you guys
asleep or
should
something?
check out that video on Hayden Wayne's channel for more information.
No,
Drop the link, Hayden, so everybody can
it's
get
being
it.
weird right
Brian Miller
now.
says, never interrupt your enemy when they are
Did
when
you
they
hear
make,
about
a
EA
mistake,
getting
because they continue to reveal themselves.
sold?
And so let us finish the work, stay calm, and press
Sold?
forward with confidence while they
apparently,
continue to falter.
sold to like
1000%
a Saudi
agreed
company.
completely. Now,
No, I didn't hear anything about that.
I don't even know where to start, but I mean, look at this right here. Right now, again, understand the
I mean, they're
craziness you're seeing
gonna
from
be
Democrats
a better
is
company or
because
even
they are
worse.
Don't know.
Look at anything.
I think it
when
has
anything
potential to
is
be
at the
better,
end,
but
they become
has,
desperate and they start lashing out
it's pretty
and becoming crazy.
iffy to me.
Look at this right here.
I don't know what
Mexican man in Houston. Look at this right here.
what other companies Saudis run that are good in terms of games.
A man and a woman are wearing red hats, black shirts, khaki pants, and have zip ties in their pockets. There's also 2 Mexican flags and a third person wearing a colorful poncho.
With everything going on in our community, with all the problems our community's having, it just seems politically right.
And your decoration has gone viral on social media. You said you saw it on Instagram as well. What was your reaction to just seeing this go viral on the internet?
I was surprised that many people actually liked it. I mean, the comments that I was reading, that wasn't really negative.
Who do these people represent?
People who wear masks and have red hats. It ain't right what's happening. It ain't right that our country's going the wrong way instead of a right way. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. It's just the point about morally doing things right or morally doing things wrong. By no means am I threatening any agents. I mean, that's just a little statement that I'm putting up for myself.
So, our country's going in the wrong direction, apparently. That's what we're told. Okay? Well, let's listen to Bill Clinton in 1985.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens.
What did I say? What year did I say? Because I meant 1995 if I said something else. So what did I say?
On our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards.
Oh, I said 1985? I'm sorry. Well, I am retarded. Anyway, let's listen to Bill Clinton from 1995.
Impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
That's pretty interesting how no one got outraged when this was said during the Clinton years. It's pretty interesting, but now suddenly this guy right here wants to tell you that, oh, our country's changing and someone needs to step up and say something about it. Someone needs to call things out. No, you have been programmed by the media and you're too stupid to realize it. That is ultimately what's going on right now. You're just too dumb to realize it. What the hell, dude? But again, desperation is setting in for these clowns. That's the bottom line. Carlos Mencia? Mencia, is that it? Mencia? Mind of Mencia, is that what it was? Dude, I'll be honest with you, I was not prepared to say that name on this stream. I was not. It's been a long time since I heard that name, but yet here we are. And again, it continues, ladies and gentlemen, because Ilhan Omar, check it out right here with Don Lemon.
I have nothing to apologize for. You know, it is a tragedy that Charlie Kirk was killed in that way. I feel for his widow and his children. They will have to live with that for the rest of their lives. But there is no legacy to honor. It was a legacy filled with bigotry, hatred, and white supremacy. And as a black woman and as a Muslim in this country, I refuse to join the chorus that changes the history of what is on the record from this man. And so, you know, Nancy Mace, the president, like whatever, these crazy people can do whatever they want to do. Yeah. But I am not going to be bullied into complacency, into, you know, dishonoring who I am and what I stand for just to, you know, make them feel comfortable. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
I will repeat what I have been repeating for a while. Let them keep talking. Keep talking. Keep showing that arrogance. Keep showing that dismissive mindset. Keep showing the world who you are. Keep talking. In fact, Don Lemon keeps talking. Let's hear what Don Lemon has to say.
Wake up, white men. What the fuck is wrong with you? But you're too dumb to even realize that. Because you're lazy and sitting in front of a computer or a phone and you're just eating it up. Oh, my God, look at what they're doing. All of a sudden, my heritage is going to be over. That I want to live in a country where white kids go to white schools and white people marry each other. What is wrong with that? I want to grow up in the country that my great-grandfather grew up in. That country doesn't exist anymore, asshole.
Keep talking, Don Lemon. I have no problem with it. I truly don't care that they keep running their mouths and showing the world who they are. I don't. Because you have to understand they are destroying themselves. It's crazy. Benny Johnson uploaded this, got an unexpected call from a prominent elected Democrat today, and they finally admitted it's my side calling everyone Nazis and fascists, pushing people to grab guns. It has to stop. Let's hear this.
Non-functional country. And when people feel like the only option is violence, then that's a non-functional country. That's a failed state. That's just going to descend into civil war, sectarian violence. That's going to be it's too big of a nation. That's going to be a non-functional country. That's just going to be another civil war. And we cannot have it that way. And this Democrat that was just on the phone with me, and again, forgive me for just like off the top of the dome talking about this. We have a stacked show for you. We have important things to talk about, but you got to understand why we're like a minute late today.
This is why Benny is so much more successful than me. He's apologizing for being a minute late. Imagine me apologizing for being a minute late.
I had to take this phone call, and I was just like sort of blown away during the whole thing. This Democrat off the top was just like, it's my side. It's my side. Obviously, there are things that like the right's doing that we don't like. But it's my side. It's my side, like ratcheting up, calling everyone a fascist, calling everyone a Nazi, dehumanizing.
I just want to let you know, there's this one guy in the chat, Maggot Vomit, and every time I play Benny Johnson clips, he cries. So that's why I've continued to play him. So I wasn't going to listen to the whole 8 minutes, but specifically because you were crying about Benny, I'm playing the whole 8 minutes now, just to hopefully piss you off.
Demonizing everyone to the point where people just grab guns. You know, the most mentally ill and disturbed people will just grab a gun and say, well, that, you know, time to go take out Hitler. And this Democrat's like, it's our problem, and we need to fix that. We need to disavow that. And like, I want to work with you, Benny, to lower the temperature on all of that.
You guys in the chat are making me laugh. I'm about to die now. Damn you, chat.
And have a functional country. And I'll tell you the end of the conversation. I said, we haven't changed. You know, our party hasn't changed. We still love our fellow Americans. I do. I know this audience does. I'll give you an example. A very important and famous left-winger that I think wrecked the country, that I don't like at all, and nobody in my audience likes at all. His name's Joe Biden. He was just given a death sentence. Just is what it is. In stage 5 metastasized cancer to the bone. And I didn't see no one on my side celebrating that. Nobody was dancing on Biden's grave. Nobody was sitting here like cheering and squeeing and doing a TikTok dance that Joe Biden has got a terrible terminal diagnosis of cancer. We sure as hell didn't do that. I know that on this...
I will say, though, there were people that were like... I'm not going to offer him sympathy. Listen, were there some people in chats and Twitter and all of that probably say, yeah, okay, but like there wasn't like mass celebrations or anything like that. There just wasn't. Because you understand that like that's never going to win people over. That's never going to convince anyone to join your side. It just isn't. No matter if you feel that way or not, it just isn't going to convince anyone. And that's the reality of the situation right here. Like, what is your goal here? Clearly the goal here is to wake up as many people as possible to the realities of what's going on. And you don't do that by celebrating death or celebrating a, you know, a disease of that level. You just don't do it. That's the bottom line. You can, whether you feel that way, whether if you're happy about it or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're not going to win anyone over to your side by doing dumb shit like that. Simple as that.
Program, and that this audience just said, you know, we very much disagree with Joe Biden. We're gonna pray for him, and we're gonna hope that like his last, you know, whatever days God has for him, you know, that they're full days, you know. That just is what it is. And so that, like, that's the way that we approach this. And I'm talking as a Democrat, I say that. And you can hear it like click. They're like, yeah. I said, you can't find me a single Republican that was like behaving the way the left behaved when they killed Charlie. When one of theirs, a Trantifa activist, goes and kills Charlie. And like hundreds of thousands of them are squeeing and dancing on TikTok.
And prominent ones on top of that. I think the way to present that, because I've had to do it many times with the entertainment side of things, it's just like there's no prominent people that we're doing that. So like I remember like back during like the Disney Star Wars stuff, people were like, oh, people are, you know, saying these horribly vile things about Kathleen Kennedy, and you know, I'm like, who's saying it? Who's saying like next level horrible things about her, about something bad needs to happen to her from that level? I'm not gonna repeat specifically, but you know what I'm getting at. It's like, who said it?
Independent.
Tell me the person that has any significant
Hello,
following
friends.
that is on camera saying it right now. Show me the clip. They can't. They're like, well, there was a person with a cat profile picture that said it. Okay. Whatever.
Hi, you're stretching?
Like, yo, that's like demonic, I said. I said, bring me back to the 90s. He said, I remember the 90s. I was born in the 80s, but I remember the 90s. And it was like the 90s, they weren't perfect, but it felt like both parties, at the very least, liked America. America and wanted America to succeed. And maybe it was like 80-20. Maybe it was like 70-30. Like 70% of the stuff we agreed upon. Like, you can go listen to the Bill Clinton. Hey, Alex, grab me that Elon Musk Bill Clinton speech.
That's the one I just played. And listen, the bottom line is whatever your idea of the Democratic Party was, whatever your idea of liberals or left-wingers was before Donald Trump, doesn't matter because it doesn't exist anymore. Donald Trump has fundamentally broken the Democratic Party, and they are broken beyond repair. They can't even be repaired. It's over. And he ran out a lot of the rhinos. Not all of them, but he ran out a lot of them. The Paul Ryan, you know, the Mitt Romneys of the world. Donald Trump has changed the U.S. politics and world politics, for that matter, at least for the rest of our lifetime. We're never going back. Trump has changed everything.
Sorry, I'm just going off the top of the dome. It's been a long weekend, and I've got a lot of thoughts on this. You know, in the 90s, there was a Democrat Party and a Republican Party that, like, were almost bros. And maybe that's a bad thing. I'm not sure. But I can tell you what, like, it sure felt different. Right now, it feels like there's an insurrectionist wing of the party that insurrectionist wing of the Democrat, radical wing of the Democrat, radical Marxist, militant wing of the Democratic Party that actually wants to destroy America. I mean, like, it feels like they want to.
We are finishing the Benny clip because I was committed to that. We are, but as I said that, literally as I said what I just said, Trump, we have a new Trump tweet, ladies and gentlemen. This was 4 minutes ago. We have a new Trump tweet, everyone. Here we go. New Trump tweet 4 minutes ago.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know? At least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Oh, that's my president right there. That's my president.
To kill and violently revolt
it's a fucking
a violent revolution against our nation. That's what it feels like.
There, doggy, there. Hit the ground running.